Hello and welcome to DDOCast episode 667. I'm your host, Patrick. With me this week, we have a whole bunch of folks. Let's see, we'll go around the room here. We've got Arkat.
Hey, good afternoon, PJ. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we have Epic.
Hello, everyone.
We have Propane.
Good afternoon, everybody.
And Antha.
Hey, everyone.
Welcome back. Couple of you guys haven't been here in a while. It's great to have you back.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah. Every once in a while, I'm doing my job really well, and I get I'm really proactive about finding people. Yeah, it's great. Love having lots of folks, especially for a day like today. This week's screenshot: Celsius sets fire to a particularly annoying branch in the 541st screenshot of the week. I have no idea. I think that is that in the Snow Peaks.
That's in the climbing challenge.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like they need to be more specific about which annoying branch in there because I found a lot of them to be fairly annoying. Maybe that was just me. We like talking about Dungeons & Dragons online nearly every weekend. You can catch us through Twitch, YouTube, the DDO forums, iTunes, or from our website at DDOcast.com. DDOcast is hosted by Cyber Ears, the awesome podcast hosting network, and shows are usually available within a few days of recording. The next show will probably be next week, and you can stay updated by following us on social media. At DDOcast on Twitter is the best place. You can also check out our calendar at DDOcast.com. On the podcast this week, hey, we have a producer's letter! Woohoo! We also have a new producer, so that's kind of exciting. So we're going to chat about, that's going to be kind of the big primary focus of the day. So we'll start with, before we get there, a couple of little gaming news things I wanted to toss out really quick. One, it's been announced Update 53 is coming this week. So we should be seeing that coming probably Wednesday is my expectation. That's kind of usually when such things would come out, Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm
looking forward to seeing the release notes. They're not out yet, but I expect them probably the day before or the day of.
Yep. So that's coming. Two new quests, new raid. See, Epic, you're probably the one most likely to have popped in on the raid on Lomania. Did you get in there? Did you have any thoughts on it really quick?
Most likely, but I did not.
Well, we'll all find out about it on when it comes out. The other thing I wanted to mention is some more fixes for the Bloody Footprints. So the next major update is supposed to fix the following for Footprints. Both genders of Warforged in the Inquisitive style, Shifter males in all styles, Tiefling males in the one-handed and one-handed shield style, and Drow for both genders in Inquisitive style. So that's great. Love the Footprints working. I think it does kind of give a nice little snapshot of how many different kind of rigs they have to come up with for cosmetics and why they're so expensive. Because you have all of the races when we're up to what? 14, 15 races? And then all of the styles on top of that. So that's why those are kind of expensive to make.
Yeah, that number's not going down either.
Nope. We're going to talk about that. Okay, so that'll take us to the producer's letter. So 2022's producer letter. We'll take this in chunks, and I'll kind of read some of the sections and give these guys a chance to share their thoughts. So, jumping right in. Today, the producer would like to reintroduce themselves to everyone. Our new producer is Amanda Tolero Grow, the new producer for Dungeons & Dragons Online. Some of you may remember her from previous roles in community, commerce, and other behind-the-scenes work. Sutherland and Tolero have worked together closely for years, and she expects to continue that in his role as executive producer. Today, she's here to talk about the latest excitement going on with DDO and things to look forward to. I'll pause there briefly. Just a minute. Tolero, I think, joined what is now SSG in like 2007, 2008,
2007.
7, and
Yeah.
was a player before, and was even actually a guest on DDOCast. I think one of the very early guests. So she's been around for a while. For those who are newer to DDO, a little about her. Years ago, circa 2006, she had the great fortune to stumble on what became my all-time favorite game. From that first moment when I heard the Dungeon Master's voice warning me about broken splitters on the floor, back when the tutorial dungeon was completely different, she was hooked. She went on to work for the game the next year, and DDO and its players have been her great love for approaching 2 decades now. Hey, y'all, if you started playing this game when it launched, you're getting old. just letting you know. In that time, there have been many incredible changes, from the transformation into a free-to-play game to adding Forgotten Realms and other classic D&D content and a host of big game systems. Since the founding of Standing Stone Games, we've brought big additions into the game that my younger Fascinate Bard playing self would have been thrilled by. If I could go back in time and tell myself what we were going to get mounts and cosmetic cloaks, go to places like Eberron's Sharn, or actually fight Strahd and Ravenloft, she'd be beside herself. Just this past year, we've gone into the classic tabletop module Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh, and we've done a major overhaul of the Epic Destiny system. This year, we've got more fun planned, and it's surreal to get to be the one to tell you about it. I'll pause there. Anyone want to jump in and say anything about, hey, welcome to Tolero, or any thoughts thereof? Nope.
Well, I think it's still great that we have a previous player who's still involved in the game, and she loves what she's doing. I think it speaks that the game will be around a lot longer.
Yeah.
I remember Tolero when she was a player, and her I think her main tune's name and forum name was Merlask, Merlask, Merlask. And she would run all sorts of community events on her server, Thalanis, including like things like, fashion shows and so forth, with all the different outfits and all the different, they weren't cosmetics, but back then, but all the different armor styles and robe styles and all that stuff. And even way back then, she was really, really into it. So I had some mixed feelings when she was promoted to producer, but it in the end, she was originally one of us, and so I think that's a good thing to have an actual player, long-time player, be in such a good position.
All right, so continuing on, they did provide us with this lovely roadmap, which we'll put up for a little bit. Slayer said, we've just jazzed up Snow Peaks Festival with new additional challenge quest. If you like slipping and sliding down Flurry's Ramp challenge, you can still do that, but for those looking for a tougher challenge, gather up your frozen keys and check out Too Cold to Continue by visiting Flurry in the Eberron Hall of Heroes, where you'll face an uphill climb to try and get the goods. My recommendation is try it once and move on. It was kind of...
Yeah, I got my one pot, and I'm like, all right, back to the slide.
Anyone want to stand up and say that they like the climb better than the slide?
No.
Yeah, I didn't
Definitely not.
I got the throwy thingy, the dart as
Mhm.
well, and haven't gone back.
So I'm really glad they put the feature in that if you fall off, it goes back to the last milestone, because without that, it would have been ridiculously brutal instead of just somewhat painful.
The next new content you'll see will be Update 53, called Hunter and Hunted, for level 7 Heroic and 32 Legendary. It's 2 quests. This is set in the Feywild universe, where you'll be investigating the mysterious wild hunt. Update 53 also includes a new Legendary level raid. You do not need to own the Fables of the Feywild expansion in order to play this adventure pack, which is free to VIPs and available in the DDO store. Update 53 will be coming out just as we're heading into one of her personal favorite times of the year, DDO's anniversary. So, 16th anniversary. They're making the 16th anniversary extra sweet by giving away some free stuff from the D&D Player's Handbook, permanently. That's right. When the anniversary update happens, so probably this Wednesday, we will be making the following races and classes from the core D&D Player's Handbook permanently free for everyone in DDO. For races, that is Gnome, Half-Elf, Half-Orc, Drow, Wood Elf, Dragonborn, and Tiefling. For classes, it is Druid, Monk, and Warlock. If you've already purchased these races and classes, they will be giving you a gift of a greater elixir of discovery for each of the races or classes you own prior to the anniversary patch. These gifts will be distributed when the patch goes live. Yes, that means between now and when the patch happens, if you buy any of the races or classes on the list above, you'll get the gift too, as long as it happens before the patch goes live.
PJ?
Yes.
Just wanted to just break in real quick. I mean, I realize that that these the gnome, half elf, etc., they're in the I guess it's probably the version 5 of the D&D handbook, player's handbook. But I mean, for crying out loud, I mean, why didn't they just go ahead and add ASMR? I mean, ASMR and Tiefling are basically one and the same, except one's celestial related and the other's fiendish. So I mean, would it have killed them to add ASMR to the free list as well?
What's really unfortunate is I moved my 5th edition player's handbook from right here above my head downstairs yesterday, so I could actually pull it out there. Drow is not actually in the player's handbook, I don't think, are they? Just elf.
I don't know. I don't have
the 5th edition one.
Player's 5th edition handbook.
And Wood Elf is kind of well, I think Drow and Wood Elf are like variants of elf. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, I think ASMR is a different book, but Tiefling is not. And I believe that started with 4th edition.
Right. Tiefling was a core race in 4th edition.
Right. I think it's just they're just lining it up with the player's handbook. That's my. I think that's the only reason.
I have no doubt that's what it is. I mean, my point was that the power levels are similar between Tiefling and ASMR. So
sure. Yeah.
Don't think power levels factored into the decision whatsoever.
Oh, exactly. I don't think it has, but maybe it should have.
In one of the other interviews I was watching, they talked about how when a new player logs in, the number of races you have to purchase, and it was quite a few right now, and this would make it look more of a free-to-play game that you don't have to purchase 75% of them now. It's only a few left again.
Yeah, Tolero mentioned in Strimtom's interview, which we'll talk about later, more in depth, that the ratio of free races to premium races, it used to be really nice, and most of them were ones that you were free, and now it's really much more of the you have to buy them. So they wanted to kind of readjust that a little bit. Anyone else have any thoughts about this? About the races and classes going free? My thought on it is cool. I appreciate that you're giving me a gift for having previously purchased them. I am underwhelmed by it being a greater elixir of discovery. And certainly that is not worth buying one of these races between now and when this happens to get an elixir of discovery. That's the price value there is just completely out of the ordinary. I don't have an issue with not really getting the same value out of the race. I mean, the content can change, and I've been able to play those races for years. But the classes, but here's a greater elixir of discovery. Underwhelming. It actually almost feels to me more insulting than if they had just not given me anything.
And they didn't mention the time frame on them. It's not like it's a 30-hour one or anything like that.
Well, it's greater, so whatever the time is on that one.
It's an hour, so it's 10 plus 10% to a named item chance for an hour. So yeah, the same ones out you get from the greater autos, the epic autos boxes, or the the better the Greater Epic Autos box.
It reminds me of the stable when others had bought the horse bag and the stable came into the game, and they gave people like a medium augment bag in exchange, which was also lackluster.
Yeah. Although at least that was in the game for a lot less time. Right, so that would...
Sure, but the pack that it came in was really expensive.
Sure. Pack did it come in? I don't know if I even remember that bag.
It was a cosmetic pack with the Borderlands gear and horse, and so I think it was like 3,500 DDO points, and part of the selling point was it had a bag, a holding bag for mounts.
That sounds right. I don't think I got that pack. I don't remember getting
I did not either.
I was happier to just get rid of the bag and actually have a slot that's not taking up space.
Yeah, right. So, another common thing that people are probably reacting to this, which is addressed next, is, hey, I'm a VIP. I get access to those as a VIP. You're taking even more stuff out of my VIP experience. So the next paragraph is, for VIPs, we wanted to thank you by increasing your free gold rolls on daily dice from once per week to once per day through the end of the year. They'll post another announcement with further details when the anniversary patch launches. We're so grateful for your patronage, and we look forward to seeing even more people building unique characters in DDO for years to come. Yay for free gold rolls. That's great. Tolero did talk about in the interview with Strimtom that this is kind of a quick fix to the VIP experience. The reason why it says like it's sunsetting at the end of the year is because they plan and expect to have a better experience by the end of the year to kind of flesh out the VIP experience. We'll talk more about that when we talk about the interview and stuff. But hey, a free gold roll for VIPs.
Yeah, continue to go directly to level 3 with regardless of any ETR or TR. It's a wonderful thing. So I do appreciate the extra gold rolls.
I definitely agree. I appreciate the extra gold rolls. I'd like to stay out of Korthos as much as possible.
Yeah, it's understandable. I might start thinking about starting at a higher level than I have been of late, just to eat some more of those up. I tell you, so just kind of a pro tip here. If you're just rolling it on your home server, let me encourage you to get more value from this by creating characters on other servers to roll as often as you can / would like. Because by the end of the year, if you were to, say, transfer a character from another server who has collected and consolidated and maybe gone out and gotten some bank and character inventory favor, you could easily bring over more stuff from 1 year for what's going to be 10 months worth of daily gold rolls. It's probably going to be worth more than the 2,500 points to transfer that character, plus any first-time things that you maybe still have on those servers. Just saying.
Good advice. I think I did that when they had the 1-year package, and it was very nice. It's almost Christmas time when that alt moved over to the home server and started handing out cosmetic glasses and here's some dice. It was a good time.
And hey, if you don't want to pay for the server transfer, Hardcore Season 6 is coming up later this year, and in the producer's letter, that transfer is free. All right, so time to look ahead. Tolero's absolute favorite thing happening this year, dinosaurs. I don't think I was actually shocked by this, but she did include a couple pictures of various dinosaurs. It looks like raptors are getting a redesign. There's a couple different models of Triceratops. Actually, I'm not very good at that. I'm not sure if those are all 3 Triceratops, or if it's just one. But Triceratops looking dinosaurs.
They're all from the Triceratops family.
Yeah.
The one in the middle is your, your, your typical Triceratops. And I used to know what the names of the one on either side were called, but I don't remember anymore.
And then I think the last picture she had was an Ankylosaurus. I think it's the armored one.
Yes.
Like heavily armor, right? She says she thinks the world underestimates how much the team loves dinosaurs, and this spring we're about to go to the most dinosaur-laden D&D module of all time, the Isle of Dread. This will be an expansion, so expect to see fun goodies available in a pre-purchase opportunity this spring, including the new Tabaxi character race. Later in the spring, when the expansion launches, you'll need all of your daring to face the threats of Isle of Dread. But one thing they'll tell us now is that with this expansion, they're going to level cap increase further into legendary levels up to 32. We can't wait for you to come and play it. All right, there you go. Dinosaurs, level 32, and Isle of Dread. Anyone have any thoughts they would like to share?
And one thing with level going up to 32, does anybody know for sure if you can still ETR at 30, or do you need to get those extra 2 levels? That was probably my biggest concern when I saw that.
It will stay at 30.
They have previously said it will stay at 30. They have also kind of... I'm not exactly sure how it's going to work, but it sounded to me like they have said that it's going to be when you... those legendary levels won't TR. So when you get back up to 30, you'll get up to 32 right away. I'm not exactly sure if that's correct, but that's what it sounded like to me and what I kind of remember.
I've not heard that, but I'd like to know how that's going to work.
Yeah.
If that's the case.
There was something about it like not impacting that part of the game. I don't know. That seemed a little weird to me.
Well, I guess it's possible since like the heroic and epic XP or the Destiny XP used to toggle between the two. It's possible the legendary one, if you do an epic, is unaffected, but if you true reincarnate, I don't know. We'll have to see.
I don't know.
I'm just wondering if you have to buy the expansion in order to advance beyond 30.
I would doubt it. That would be very abnormal.
No, they're not going to do that.
I think there was some chat. I'm trying to remember some of this. I don't remember if this is actually a thing that they're saying is going to happen or they were thinking about doing. They might adjust some of the content to be a little bit higher level that already exists to kind of push up into that level range.
I don't. It's possible that they do that, but I don't think they have to. There's a lot of level 30 to 32 quests already. Now it's possible that balance becomes an issue since those were designed to still be ran with existing levels. I don't know if that'll have to be adjusted, but there's plenty of quests that go up into the 30s.
Yeah, I wonder how much power creep you're talking going 2 more levels. So there you get a couple more build points, and I guess it really depends on the gear that comes with it too.
I think the expectation is that we're going to get 4 more Destiny points for each level. Like that progression is going to stay the same.
I wonder what the feats is what I'm curious about, seeing how we get the legendary feat at level 30. What happens after that?
I forget, do we get to unlock 1 more core at level 32, or has that not been...
I'm going to guess and say yes. On the 3rd core is 26, so 30. There's not one for 30 right now, so one would assume at least 32 you'd get another core.
Well, they had mentioned that they were going to be adding on cores in the future.
There's room for, 3 more cores, right?
That's correct.
Presumably the last one's going to be 40. So 32...
36, 40?
Maybe 31, 36? 31, 36 would kind of be every 5 levels, right? Well, that's not
they've been doing it's been every 4 levels for the first 3. So the first one you get at 22, right? And then the next one you get at 26, and the last one you get at 30. So it'll be then 30. Oh, I see your point.
And if you look at the heroics, they're spaced out a little differently. I could see them doing 34 and 38, or we'll find out. But
the last one currently is at 26. So somewhere between 30 and 32, there's going to be a fourth core.
It's got to be.
And,
like if there's not, then like what are we
32
doing?
would be my bet. Makes sense. It gives you something at the new high level, something shiny to go after.
Right, because I think it'll go. It's 20. I think the next one's 22, then 26. It would make sense for the next one to be at 32. And then, if it follows a pattern in heroics, it goes from 12 to 18, but there's only 2 levels between 18 and the capstone at 20. So it'll probably mimic somehow something like that.
Yeah, that would make sense. So 23, 26, 32, 18, 40. I can see that.
I guarantee you they're going to require 40 points in a tree to take the capstone.
Tough choices.
Yeah, it's probably true. Although I think I'm almost there with my primary tree on a lot of.
Yeah, I'm close. It won't be a problem.
And you'll have like 40 more points to spend, so it'll start being less of an issue.
You've got to spend some points in the core, so you got at least 2 or 3 more going to the core. So
the feat progression you're saying, that's a good question. I would not expect us to get a feat because you get one at 30, and so that would be 33 would be the next feat. However, it would be normal to get a destiny feat at 31. Don't know if that's still going to be a thing. 32 should also be a stat increase, ? So, have to see what they do there. The other thing is, again, we get a feat for like every epic, like the epic levels we get an epic level feat as well. I would assume that would be replaced by some sort of legendary version, which who knows what that's going to get. I think if they just keep giving us like +1 to every skill for every level we get above 20, that's going to get a little silly pretty quickly. But
whatever they do, I hope it's normalized. There's too many things in DDO that doesn't make sense from they changed it because they wanted to, and for a new player that can be that can suck.
Yeah, no,
I think it's been a while since they rebalanced the XP curve. I think the 10 to 30, I think they did it. Personally, 20 to 30, I think they rebalanced, but I'd be surprised if they touch that.
I think the XP curve there is fine.
Yeah.
All right, so that's what Isle of Dread. Hey, anyone want to talk about Tabaxi?
Yeah, let's talk about the Tabaxi race. It's not said, but I think there's also going to be included an iconic with the Tabaxi race. And so, I mean, the speculation, at least for me, and I think also from Voodoo, was that it would have to be a Swerk because it was the only class that was available or free to play for an iconic to be. But now that we've got a bunch of other classes that are now going to be free, like Monk, Druid, and Warlock, it doesn't necessarily have to be that the Tabaxi will be, a Sork. It could be a Warlock, it could be a Monk, or it could be a Druid. And I thought it was going to be a Sork, but I'm changing my mind. I'm going to say it's going to be a Druid.
Could be fun.
I think Voodoo predicted Tabaxi several.
No, actually, he didn't. He predicted Rakasta, which is a similar kind of, it's a cat-like race too.
Not to be confused with Rakshasa, if I'm
that's
correct. Right? Yeah.
Rakasta is a cat-like people that were on the Isle of Dread, but in 3.5 version of Isle of Dread, I think they called the Rakasta extinct. So they never brought them back from version 4 or 5. So that's why they're not Rakasta in DDO. There's going to be this Tabaxi race.
Only comment I'll have is I hope it looks better than Shifter, and the iconic gets played more than the iconic Shifter.
I really like what they did with the the shifter iconic. Like I liked the thematic and stuff, but it doesn't play as well as you want it to.
No, it does not.
I was looking at the DDO audit and just like a couple days ago, and it's one of the lowest played races out of all of them. So there's obviously some power issues there because
Shifter
yeah,
in general, or the shifter iconic?
The iconic.
Okay.
The shifter
Razor
is
Claw.
normal. Yeah, Razor Claw.
Arkat, you were playing with him on DDOCast Splat, weren't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I play a Razor Claw shifter who's a 20 wizard Eldritch Knight, but uses hand wraps because I wanted to get the extra multiplier, or is it range, or is it critical multiplier up in the top tier of a Razor Claw shifter, and it's okay, but it is pretty lackluster, frankly.
I think it works thematically. It is not pushing the boundaries of the meta in any way, shape, or form.
No.
Which that's okay. It doesn't, like, every build doesn't have to do that, but
now flavor. Flavor. Really, what I'm playing is more of a flavor build than a meta build. So and flavor builds are okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're just not gonna. You don't want to be playing a flavor build in a push raid, right?
In fairness, in Epic, you might be the best person to answer this. I think you probably spend more time in the metaverse than anyone else here. Iconics don't really strike me as very popular top tier builds.
Occasionally there's maybe, but yeah, primarily people just play their regular races. At least currently, I'm trying to think if there's anything that just calls for an iconic, and I can't really think of anything.
The only one that comes to mind is Blade Forge as a tank, because it has the slashing damage reduction, right?
Yeah, we've done that. I use PDK occasionally, and I even think for a few builds Aasimar Scourge, but not regularly, no.
Yeah, the iconics are not really that top tier end, but I like how they fit into some things, and I do kind of I at least appreciate how they're not like a typical thing, like Barbarian Hand Wrap, the Shifter, Razor Claw, the Scourge as being a Ranger Undead specialist is, well, it's not too far off the wall, but I don't know. I've always liked how they kind of thematically work together. So, and starting at 15 is kind of fun.
Yeah, I wish they did give you an option to start at 1 and choose your own class, but I'm preaching to the choir, I'm sure.
You would have to use a heart to start to change that first class. Well, I guess you can start at level 1 in the sense that you don't actually have to take the levels. You just don't get any experience for it. So it's kind of a weird way to do it. But
yeah, Cammy did that on our Reaper Life. He started as the cleric, yeah, and just played up through the heroic levels with it.
They open up some different build options. I got a guildie of mine that does the cleric, but uses the Sun Elf to get the Arcane Archer for paralyzing, and it's a fun little build that you really can lay down some crowd control, and it's just different build options are there, but I don't think any of them are crazy overly powered.
No.
I will say probably go for it. Wolf, the splits that when people were using Maul and the 2x crit range, those iconics were used a lot for the Wolf build, but that just came to mind.
Well, let's talk about Beyond Isle of Dread. There's a lot of important things on the radar. On the serious end of the spectrum is improving game performance. For a while now, they have been focused on creating tools to let us see what's happening so we can be more proactive rather than reactive. They've also created a multidisciplinary strike team that meets regularly with Tolero and Sev to focus on what those diagnostics tell us. The IT ops are tackling the server environment. DBAs. Does anyone know what DBA is?
Database administrator.
Okay. Are working on upgrades and efficiencies, and our game engineers and designers focus on problematic monsters, NPCs, and systems that need improvement. Here are some of the things they've done and will be doing. They found and fixed a nasty amount of lag in the guts of the Heroic and Reaper enhancement trees system. I'm guessing that's related to the loading lag that was fixed. Which has been...
Thanks, Stillstar.
That's very nice, right?
Yes.
Another place they found problems was with part of the system that manages people's class pets, so druid wolves and artificer dogs, which was periodically causing huge lag spikes under certain conditions, which I'm guessing is why we've seen some release notes about fixing pets recently. I wonder if that has to do with ladders, because I wasn't like ladders part of that those release notes.
Yeah, the artificer dogs are not real good at climbing up ladders.
How?
Beyond that, they just stop.
Yeah.
Working, period.
How absurd is it that in the game where the ladder bug is kind of like the cliche, like you can't fix bugs thing, that potentially a ladder could cause a pet to just like cause an immense amount of lag. I don't know if that's actually what's happening, but
I think it's poetry.
Yeah, right. It's like coming soon in DDO. We fixed lag. All ladders have been removed. We've reconfigured server resources utilization so it's more efficient and added some new alarms to let the operations team better detect excessive CPU load in a way that they couldn't detect previously. They recently adjusted the bandwidth settings of the game, which was suspect in slowing parts of the UI and also giving raiders trouble. The game and players' characters have grown more complex over time, passing through more events than before. Those defaults were set. I believe that is what's kind of being attributing the taking stuff out of your TR cache faster change.
It is substantially better.
Yeah. The recent 52.1 patch included some fixes to areas of the Shadowfell landscape, which were too performance heavy. I think that was like the graphicsy areas. And then the engineers just this week were telling Tolero that they've pinpointed some lag-causing behavior lurking under the hood of the quest system, which they're still working through.
What the hell does that mean?
I'm
think
hoping
about when you try to pull
windows.
up a quest window. Yeah, think about delayed quest windows.
Okay.
It happens enough.
Let's see. So that's what they're hoping to target to kind of target and have been targeting. They're really trying to make a dent into that, which I think they have been getting. The lag has been getting better, at least anecdotally for me. I don't know if you guys have had the same experience.
I've never really experienced much lag. A couple weeks back, I was playing on a 14-year-old laptop, and a couple areas it seemed to play really well. Like Shadowfell was one of them. So I was like, I guess they've been doing something. It's made a difference.
Yeah, that's good.
It's like been continuous improvement, but it's been like 3 steps forward, then a step back, and then 3 steps forward and a step back. You know, it hasn't been a continuous incline.
That's probably a really good way of putting it.
Anecdotally, I'd say yes. I can remember maybe 6 months to a year ago being regularly frustrated, especially during raids, but it's been better.
Just remember back to when they did the data center move after one of the anniversaries. That was, horrendous. So we can't go back there again.
Yeah. Some other things on the horizon. A new hardcore league this summer. They'll be shaking things up after the winter Redux season with a twist, but they're keeping it secret for now. They've also identified some server performance optimizations when the season kicks off, which should make the opening day and first weekend of hardcore perform better.
Is that because there's more people when hardcore first opens up than let's say the next weekend or the next few weeks? I mean, why are they picking, at the very beginning of hardcore to, why are they distinguishing that?
I think you're correct. I think it's population.
Okay.
I know I generally don't have enough time to. I got to choose what I do, and
Yep.
I'll go to hardcore to do my daily rolls, and then go back to the server world. So that first week, I'll go roll up the character, run through, and get set up, and then I just pop over for daily rolls. So I suspect there are many people in my boat that just don't fully participate in it, but that first week you want to get your feet wet to get your rolls started.
They will also be touching up Crystal Cove, both to help with performance during the event and also to mix the monsters up and keep the rewards relevant.
That's much needed.
That could mean that Crystal Cove would be the first. Well, no, because Night Revels goes up to 35, right? And the Anniversary goes up to 35.
Yes, that's correct.
But if
but all the items that go up to level 28 though.
Right. But so if you want to get the max, if we were at level 32 and you wanted to get the maximum ingredients, you would need it to go to 37. Is that right? My brain's trying to remember how challenges work now.
I think that the anniversary items do go up to 30, but you're correct. You can go 5 levels above is how it typically works. So I would imagine it could be level 37, or I don't know.
For each skull level or something above, not skull, but each level above what you are. So if you do if you're 30 and you do a 31 challenge, it's like 10% extra ingredients or something. So at 35 would be 50% extra, the number of ingredients. So yeah, I think you're right, PJ. Knocking it up to 37 would be that extra 50%.
I forget where I saw it, but it sounds like they're getting rid of the map turn-in, so you can just grab your group and go, which will be huge. That's fantastic.
That was a server performance issue too. That the server having to keep track of that was a performance pain point. Grey Wolf in the chat is saying that you get 10% more ingredient per level over leveled. Yeah, it is than you. So that'd be 50% more at 5 levels higher. So I don't do challenges enough to pay attention to the ingredients anymore. But yeah, so hopefully we'll see Crystal Cove go up to 37, maybe even 40? Question mark. I don't know. That'd be kind of cool.
I wonder if they introduce, say some level 30 or 32 gear, they probably have to have a new gem type, and then people are going to have to run it a little bit more versus just going and making stuff too.
Well, I suspect we'll see the increase in the challenges, along with, I'm assuming, Caneth Crafting is going to have to move up as well.
So the cool thing about Caneth Crafting is it used to go up to 34, actually. So I think the information's already there. And I don't know what work they'll have to do to allow you to do that. But yeah, presumably you'd be able to craft to 32, and it should be simple.
Well, that system's pretty linear right now, so yeah, I hope that's not a big stretch for him.
Hopefully not. Grave is saying 5 levels over is approximately 33% grind or something. I'm not sure. Anyways, we'll probably see that level up. They'll be updating a classic adventure pack so that it is able to be played at higher levels once the level cap increases with Isle of Dread. Not ready to announce the details of which pack that is yet.
Oh, come on. That's going to be Shavarath.
Classic pack. I'm reading that as being like one of the D&D or the classic D&D modules.
Nah. They're talking about they're going to be I'm pretty sure they're talking about epifying the stuff that's already been in the game for a while. So that's going to be Shavarath.
My only
Amrath or the Meridia?
Yeah, the Amrath. So all the like the TOD will be epified, and the 4 quests that you run the flag for TOD. And
so before VOD, LOB, and MA came out with the legendary versions, players were upset that TOD was not a part of that, or why they chose others in front of TOD. And Steelstar said, now granted this was over a year ago I think, but that TOD has a lot of lag issues and they didn't want to touch it. Now it's possible that that's changed and they'll decide to go in there and fix whatever it is that they're scared to touch, but I'm not convinced it'll be Shavarath.
I read this as being like one of the classic modules, D&D modules.
Yeah, but they didn't say classic modules, Pat.
I get you. Like, I'm with you. I'm just saying how I read
every
it.
time they put out Temple, they did Temple of Elemental. They called it a classic module, D&D module. They used the word module. They're not using that here, so I don't think it's going to be one of those past classic modules. It's not going to be Tomb of Horrors. It's not going to be, Expeditions Barrier Peaks or any of those. It's going to be something that we already have.
No Pool of Radiance.
Maybe Reaver's
that
Refuge.
That was a separate thing, but yeah, no, it's not going to be that.
You don't think?
I hope it's the Madness Chain.
Oh, the Madness Chain.
It's one of my favorites.
I'd prefer Reaver's Refuge or TOD over that.
Reavers would be good.
Yeah, both those areas I think are hardly touched right now. So since they got a lot of that infrastructure in place, a lot of the art assets there, you think it'd be worth their time to refresh them a little bit and get them relevant again.
Grey Wolf wants Legendary Korthos. Please no. There will be another new adventure pack this year as well, where a familiar villain is up to new trouble. I'm guessing Militia. That's my guess for the villain.
I was thinking Eritrakos again.
Oh God, no.
I think Militia would be more entertaining.
Oh, I agree.
They'll be adding new character build options later on in the year, but we'll get more details about that when we get closer.
What does that mean?
I want to know what that means.
No idea. There's Universal Tree, maybe that's the guess. My guess.
I'm hoping it will be saved presets for enhancement trees, so you can just click a button and swap.
Especially if that lasts between TRs.
That's me dreaming. Yeah, that's me dreaming.
There's even a feature that should be both the boon of better performance and something people have asked about: an updated character bank. Not only will we be able to offer more character bank space finally, but it'll perform better from a server perspective too. Tolero did say in the interview with Strimtom that this is probably what it's going to look like as a finished product of the preview that we saw previously that people didn't like. So it sounds like they're going back to that, using that as like a foundation, at least.
I'm really hoping that that's going to have a cosmetic bank only and just store that stuff.
So Tolero said on Strimtom's interview that it is her hope that they have tabs, so you could theoretically shift between the tabs and have things organized that way. But similar to Lord of the Rings, I think is what she said.
Boy, if they could have some sort of server-wide option, if I'm searching for Silver Bow, tell me what character it's on, because that would be fantastic. Even once a week, if you could pull a data dump on what all your alts have, that's something I'd pay for, because that would save searching.
Yeah. Let's see. They'll also be updating DDO.com, and after that, the forums too. But they'll have more information about that once they are ready. It says, so grateful for all the players who make this possible. Looking forward to telling you all the new fun things in future letters, which she plans to do regularly throughout the year. Also looking forward to seeing you at our DDO live streams, other places around the community. Can't wait to have many more years of adventures together. Have fun, and we'll see you in game. Grey Wolf is mentioning that dungeonhelper.com for helping with inventory with your account. Yeah, it's a good place to go. There was a question about, hey, if we're getting Drow for free, what do we get at 400 favor? That's going to be Warforged. Is what's going to happen there. So,
I'd like to say that is the most information we've gotten in a producer's letter in a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was pretty comprehensive, and I mean, there's some vast and mysterious things in it still, but no, it was. I agree with Epic. That was an excellent producer's letter, and it really really looks like it was thought out and not slapped together at the last minute. So I did appreciate that a lot. Thank you, Tolero and SSG, for taking the producer's letter seriously. I do appreciate it.
And sharing the whole layout for the year of having the roadmap laid out. And so there's a nice level of detail in there as well, so some tangible stuff. So I agree, very good job. I was very happy to see it.
Do want to mention Jerry did talk a little bit about the forums, the new forums. It's his hope that they keep the existing forums intact and unchanged long term in an archive state. Also, we will. He's also looking at making it so that you can have, the ability to pick your own titles and avatars as well. So, that's kind of what's going on there. Kind of wrap up. I know a couple people have to go soon. Before we talk about some other stuff, and the one thing I'll say about the producer's letter, the part that I was a little down on is there's not a lot of talk about content here. We're getting Isle of Dread, upgrading a classic adventure, whatever that means, and a new adventure pack. So we got 2 quests coming soon, plus a raid, plus an adventure pack of somewhere probably 4 to 5 quests. So really, we're looking at probably 6 to 7 quests plus a raid that's not in an expansion. Kind of light.
They say anything about how big the expansion was?
No. I assume it's going to be somewhere along the same lines as Feywild and Sharn and Ravenloft. Saltmarsh was a, quote, mini expansion.
So the expansion could be roughly the same size of everything they shared already for content.
I mean, I'm expecting to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 quests.
I mean, already it's been 7 months since we've had any new content. And it is a little disappointing that we're only getting 2 quests with this coming update. That said, I hope that that's because a lot of their attention has been, towards lags and other things that we've been asking for. And if that's the case, fine. But yeah, I agree with you. We've had a lack of content, and it shows in game, at least for the people I play with, who are getting bored and looking for other things to do.
Yep.
Grey Wolf is saying we got Portent of Dread a quest a month ago, 2 months ago. Sure.
This is true.
Oh, teaser.
Not it doesn't really like.
I'd like to
my
ask
statement
Mr. Red
incorrect.
Wolf how many times he's run that quest.
I think I've run it 3 times now.
Yeah, that's about probably what I've run it.
It does make my statement incorrect, but the sentiment is still the same.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be interesting to see their high-level priority of what percent's going to quality of life versus new content versus lag, just to see that distribution of their resources to see where they're positioning themselves.
Well, I think you have seen that shift, right? Because previously, the past few years, it's been about content. And I think you are seeing them slow the brakes, and even the amount of systems they've gone back and just gave it a huge overhaul. I think it's both because they need to update the systems, yes, to perform better for where they want to go in the future. But I bet there was a lot of performance issues behind that as well, like with the double strike changes or even the Epic Destiny changes.
I kind of wonder how much of it too is if they were creating a ton of content in the last year and a half, right? Like it would all be in the 30 to 32 range, which would create this just huge gluttony of, which is already true. Like there's a ton of quests level 30 to 32, and
too many.
They are going to need to really, as we get higher in levels, they're going to need to create a lot more content that's higher up. So I wonder if there was a concerted effort to say, okay, pump the brakes on content. Let's get a lot of the systemsy, put more of our effort into the systemsy stuff and getting those in a really good place, so that when we do hit the level cap increase, 1, it works, and they don't have to do it then, and 2, then if you have a really good foundation of where the systemsy stuff is, now when the level cap goes to 34 or 35, you can really ramp back up the content creation.
I think
Sure.
that makes a lot of sense just based on getting the fundamentals a little more solid before they start growing in some ways.
And I know I'm not saying I don't even have my own negatives for some of the changes, but I personally have appreciated a lot of the overhauls that they've done. I think it was Linabelle that said, probably on Strimtom's show, that they were getting too many quests, and people didn't know how to interpret that. But I believe what he was saying was they are getting too many at level 29 to 32. You know, we've had 3 expansions alone at this level, not to mention all the other packs have come out in between those. So there is an abundance of quests between the 30 and 32.
Yeah, because you got Ravenloft, Sharn, Feywild, Saltmarsh. Like, all of those expansions are 30 to 32. That doesn't even get into all of the other legendary packs.
Don't forget, though, they are mixing the second tier lower levels spread out through the range, so they're getting a little bit of double duty on that. But
sure,
that's still a lot of concentration at the high end, to your point.
I mean,
they are.
You don't need more quests and heroics, though.
You have, what is it, levels 24 through 27? That's relatively light. So, and I know they can't really make money there by putting out new content in that range, but I don't know.
I wonder if they could do, say, a 35-25 quest pack. That'd be a little close together, but
it's true. As we get higher level, that would make a lot more sense, right? It doesn't make a lot of sense to make something that's level 27 and then 32. That's really close together.
I'd like to see them have more content on the mid-epic levels. I think gearing's pretty light, 25, 26.
Although, also in fairness, I find that to be the easiest section of the game to level. Thank you, Slayers.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I don't think, in terms of content, I don't know that that's the biggest issue. I also wonder how much of that perception is like, oh, there's not a whole lot of content there because there's so much at 30 to 32. So, and I don't know if, I'm not really looking for 28 to 29 stuff anyways, so I can get to 28, 29. I'm jumping into level 30 plus stuff because there's more Reaper XP for that. All right, we'll jump into Strimtom's interview with Tolero. And we'll probably lose a couple folks here on our show just because people only had about an hour. But we got to the producer's letter, so that was the important part. So if you guys need to bounce out, just bounce out. Totally fine. Let's see. And then, so Tolero was on Strimtom's channel for over 2 hours. The edited video is like 2.5 hours long on YouTube. So if you want to check that out, you can find that. We'll link to that as well. But it's on Strimtom's YouTube channel. So just a couple things pulled from that. Tolero wants to focus on new player integration and retention, specifically kind of removing roadblocks for new players to get into the game, give them a better early experience. Some of that is also related to the store changes that have happened, website changes, forum changes are all kind of related to that effort. Think of it like a modernization of DDO, right? Like, DDO's been around since 2006. The internet has changed a lot. Forum technology has changed a lot. One of the things that she specifically mentioned is the ability to sign up to play from your phone. Not to be able to download your phone, but be able to sign up to play on your phone. It's something they want to make a better experience. She also mentioned, like, recognizing that choice paralysis is a thing and figuring out ways to help new folks funnel their choices down a little bit. Really kind of looking at the questions of how do I make a good character and where do I go as a new player, and kind of helping them with those 2 big questions. Pre-made builds may or may not be part of that solution. That's kind of a tricky thing for them.
I think about the pre-made builds. I go back to, what was that old video game Gauntlet, where there's like 4 classes that everything's done, and okay, that gets your feet wet, and then you can go figure stuff out. Keep it simple, but keep it halfway efficient.
Yeah, there was actually some talk. So we talked a little about the free classes and races that are going to become free. One of the things that Tolero specifically mentioned was the idea of this allows you. You're more likely to be able to take that pen and paper character you had on the tabletop and create it in DDO. If you're a new player, just make sure you understand that that's not necessarily going to be a great character. But they're generally pretty, good tabletop characters. Generally, a pretty good character in DDO. There's some big differences, but there's some, they're generally pretty good at that. So that's the thing. She did mention that the starter pack will probably switch from Dragonborn to Aasimar, and probably also need to take it down a little bit to make that happen. So in the starter pack, I think that's like the $10 pack, I think.
Yeah.
So that's it's been a really great deal for a long time. So that's great. The pre-made builds, man, the current ones were made, I don't know, 10 years ago? They're old, and they show.
At least.
They show.
Yeah.
VIP experience, and I saw Grey Wolf ask this in the chat. So Tolero acknowledged that the VIP experience needs to look better. She talked a little bit how, kind of from a design standpoint, it originally wasn't meant to be better than a la carte, so much as it was meant to kind of help people get, like, if you didn't want to deal with the a la carte, you just wanted to have that experience just being able to play, that was kind of the intention of what VIP is. She wants to really kind of develop a new version of the VIP. There's a program that is of value and people will want. So they're actually going to be looking for feedback about what the VIP program would be about if it's not about content access, which clearly seems to be something they're sort of shying away from, with the free quests and more expansions. So they're really going to be kind of diving into the question of what would people be excited about for the VIP experience. I mentioned this when we were talking about the daily gold rolls. That's meant to be kind of a fast, immediate fix while they make the program better. It's not supposed to be a permanent solution.
I think it's a good addition. I think if they're not going to focus more on the content, it's going to have to be more of the special items from like the DDO store, maybe more XP elixir stuff to level you up faster.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be interested in seeing more quality of life stuff. I'm one of the crazy people that still run a lot of alts, and I mentioned earlier with just the inventory nightmare, moving stuff around. Anything that would make my maintenance time smaller, shorter, quicker, so I can spend more time playing. Besides playing less characters, that would be something I'd be interested in.
Man, how's this sound for VIP? Being able to access any character bank from any other character.
With search function, fabulous.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would be amazing. That would be that would actually make me. My VIP went down about a month ago, and I haven't gotten it back up. That would incentivize me enough, I think, to go and get my VIP back. Honestly,
I have no idea how feasible that is, but I mean,
it's just a database and a couple more go-to statements, right?
I am not a programmer. I do not give advice on how to do your taxes. I do not give advice on how to program. Other than to say how easy it sounds, but yeah, I don't know. But hopefully we'll see some feedback, some nice things there. I mean, I would hate for it to be locked behind VIP, but if that's what it takes to get a cosmetic storage thing, like, okay, fine. I mean, hell, even if they just created a separate account wide bank that like the ones we have right now, and you had to go to the bank, and they just made one that you could just put cosmetics in, that would even be a huge improvement. So it's not taking up all that space, right? So
no, even if you could access your shared bank from your character wherever it was, that would save some time. I know we're on the inventory. Apparently, is the hot topic here.
Yeah. So Tolero, if you're listening, better inventory experience. Let me access my banks from anywhere. That's not okay. Any public area, probably be pretty popular. So, I don't know.
They kind of do that with just spending your action points. You can do it anywhere versus going to talk to the spinner. So.
DDO says DDO is inventory management first, questing second. That doesn't feel far off.
No, it doesn't.
I always thought it'd kind of be cool if you could manage your inventory from like a mobile device, just so you can spend free time clearing it up when you're not able to get to your computer.
Wow, I don't even know how that would work.
Oh, I know. It probably wouldn't, but
I like where your head's at, but yeah.
I think another VIP thing, if they could do some extra auction house searching, if you could search for augment slots, that alone would be worth a VIP payment, for example.
Yeah, that'd be kind of nice. Would be kind of nice. Let's see, hardcore. They're assessing how people play with hardcore and how does it change player dynamics. So having done 5 iterations, they've got a little bit more data now. They're kind of trying to figure out what that looks like. Season 6 will have a rules shift. Don't know what that's going to look like. But it does sound like Tolero's Tolero just in general is someone who tends to pay really close attention to player behavior and how players' behavior changes under different circumstances. So she seems to really be interested in how can we make the hardcore experience better, not just for people on hardcore, for the people on the regular servers that have no interest in hardcore. So that's kind of nice to see. She did say that she'd like to continue opening up the different quote universes, so the expansion areas. Well, not just a minute, but Ravenloft, Feywild, which we're going back to for Hunted. I think Sharn would be in there. Evening Star, that kind of a thing. Reincarnation. She did talk a little bit about wanting to have those who stay at cap and not reincarnate feel like their time is working towards quote mastery, like getting better and being of value. I think is kind of what she's going for there. So that sounds kind of fun. They have had very early, not even pen to paper kind of conversations about what account-wide progressions could look like, including it possibly as part of VIP experience. She mentioned dinosaur mounts are coming, at least. She mentioned specifically raptors. I'm not sure if more than that is coming, but specifically raptors, dinosaur mounts.
No, just to touch on the account-wide stuff, and that's an interesting thought of, the game has been slowly moving to rewarding people who play fewer and fewer characters. All the different TR and epic TR and racial TR loops really, focus you to do that. Anything they can do to promote more alts, I think, is a good thing.
Yeah, I agree. It is better than it used to be. Right? Raid runes is a huge benefit to
fantastic.
Alts. And they keep talking about changing Reaper points to be kind of an account-wide system and a shared system amongst players and stuff like that, which would be, I think, a big benefit there. Yeah, so that would all be really good.
See, they shifted a lot of the loot to bind to account. Mm-hmm. That has made a big difference. I've gotten alts dusted off, looked in my different banks, and I have a decent gear set just from stuff I've collected and not fed.
Sure. I like more stuff being bound to account than bound to character. I do think that there is a place for bound to character, particularly when it comes to raid loot. I mean, you get the raid runes, so it mitigates that a lot anyways, but I do kind of like the idea of encouraging people to run different characters into raids, personally. But I understand that's not necessarily for everyone. The biggest problem is, like, what do you do with past lives, right? Like, there's so many past lives, and I do wish that there was a way to lessen that experience for alts. Because if you want to, like, okay, I'm going to really invest in this new alt and get all the past lives. I mean, geez, how many past lives are we, just like heroic and racial past lives are we up to? Like 140, 150, something like that? That's a lot. So I think that for me is the biggest pain point of alts, is those past lives.
If you look at the build point, how you unlock different build points in their account wide. If you say you get someone to, say, Reaper level 20, all of your alts start at Reaper level 3, or some starting point.
There is also a problem right now where you can turn in an item with Reaper on it to get some bits, so that you can put Reaper stats on another item. You can only turn them in if your character is level 50 or at level 50 has 50 Reaper points. Otherwise, the character can't even turn them in. So,
oh wow!
Yeah. So, if you don't have anyone has 50 Reaper points, you can't even turn those bits in. Which is one of the reasons why I'd like to see Reapers just drop them really at a really low percentage, but just generic killing a Reaper could drop those fragments. So
a new type of bacon, yay!
There was a little bit of talk about player housing, but it was nothing beyond conversations, balancing resources with creating content, that kind of a thing. Strimtom did ask what the iconic for Tabaxi was going to be. Tolero said that she could not tell him that, which does seem to really heavily indicate that there will be an iconic Tabaxi. So, there's good news there. She also kind of had this standing question of looking at iconics. What do players like about iconic characters? Is it just that they start at level 15? Is it that they're thematic and kind of interesting, and different kind of builds? That kind of a conversation. So that's an open question. She does want to continue increasing character customization options, so cosmetics, looking at maybe having more things that we could apply cosmetics to. I'm not really sure what those would be at this point, but sure, okay. She did mention that Bigby Hands and Omnidust are too expensive per unit, so sounds like that might get cheaper, or you get more of them, so that'd be kind of neat. Bigby Hands could be an interesting thing too. Like if you were VIP, you could just always be able to drop a Bigby Hand on a timer or something. That could be interesting.
With all the rolls we got coming, we'll have more of them we know what to do with.
We talked about the character bank changes. And then there's a little bit of talk about expansion items. Tolero is really in favor of not having items that you can't get again later. So I would expect that to continue, that we're not going to have those, like those exclusive time items.
Well, I saw the interview, and she did leave room for the possibility of, for example, the Black Panther that we would get when we got into Evening Star, right? That would not be available, but maybe a reskinned version of a different color might be a version. It might be possible.
Right.
I mean, she did recognize that a lot of people, like brand new players especially, would sign up. They would get in and say, "Oh, that's a cool." What was the example she used? A pseudo dragon. I'd like to get one of those. Oh wait, I can't because I didn't. I wasn't playing the game when this expansion or this pack was offered, and you had a chance to get it then. So so she did leave open the possibility of getting something similar, maybe a different color or a different skin, but she I think she did pretty much stick by there won't be a Black Panther available,
right?
Kind of thing.
Should talk about like having like a repackaging older things, like not a promise or anything, but like this throwing out to like maybe there could be a teleportation bundle where you get all of the teleportation items. So that could be interesting. I have noticed that the sales have gotten a little bit more varied, a little more variety. So that could be interesting. All right, that covers the game news. Bonus day.
PJ, just wanted to say one thing about having Tolero as the new producer. Earlier in the podcast, I said that I had some concerns initially. Had some concerns about Tolero being promoted to be the producer, and I got to say that when I actually saw the Strimtom stream, I get a lot of my concerns were allayed. Were put to rest, or not put to rest, but allayed or put off because of that. Because it just seemed like over the years we didn't see Tolero at all. I just assumed that she was no longer interested in the game and was doing other things. And I really, after watching and listening to the podcast or the stream, I feel a lot better about her being the producer now, because it seems like she still has the passion and still cares for the game. So I'm optimistic and hopeful.
She definitely has that excited energy, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure, yes.
We'll get into bonus days. Double remnants through February 21st. So twice the chance for remnants to drop through Monday. That's because Monday is a U.S. holiday for President's Day. Store sales, Ride to Glory. So this is kind of a new. I think this was a brand new one. I don't know if this has been here before.
20, no, this is new.
Yeah, 20% off of select mounts. So I assume that's going to be not the Nightmare mount.
And it is actually it is includes the Nightmare mount. So I finally got one.
Excuse me, I'm gonna go buy a Nightmare mount.
Yeah,
yeah, I'll probably be doing the same tonight.
20% off of bonus item bundles. So that's kind of fun. And Mirrors of Glamoring and Glamored Weapon auras through February 24th. The coupon code is a free medium guild renown elixir. With the coupon code Getting Together. Talking about things that we'd like to see in the future. I'm still saying, man, I keep getting the guild renown elixirs. I'm hoping someday, sometime, there's going to be something to do with guild renown once your guild gets to level 200. I so want there to be something to do with guild. Like, give me a reason to at least occasionally take guild renown when my guild gets level 200. That's not your guild renown is degrading. Right? Like, I want to be able to spend guild. I want my guild to stay at level 200, and I want to be able to do something with guild renown. That I could also do at the earlier levels too.
It'd be nice if you could spend guild renown for upgrading the ship visibly.
Yeah.
Like just cosmetic add-ons to the ship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's an interesting point. They did all the beautiful artwork for all the different decks and areas on the ship, and then we hit the buff all and go.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be like, just when you let you put guild renown into, if you get 200, just keep 200, and then just keep putting guild renown into a bucket that you can spend to do something for your guild. I don't know necessarily what those are, but they could be cosmetic, but a short-term thing. Maybe for the next week, guild bust lasts 6 hours or something like that. I don't know.
For next week, VIPs can click and go right to your guild ship from anywhere you are outside of a quest.
Sure. I think the easy way to do that would be here's a vendor. They're go spend a little bit of guild renown to get some guild airship beacons or something. I don't know. There's ways to do it that I think would be kind of Anyways, let's get into community news. The 457th Chronicle. Malator and friend recently completed the 5K favor challenge on hardcore and celebrated in a huge way. So you can check out actual scrolls made from their hardcore favor tracking sheets on Reddit. That's kind of impressive. I would celebrate it with a drink personally, but that's pretty cool. Axel has your 2-minute raid guide for Old Baba's Hut. So you get the rundown on YouTube. There's something, as Epic put it earlier, like poetic about the raid that's do the raid again a second time to be a 2-minute raid video. Kind of funny. The comment, do people in Stormreach eat magically large vegetables, and if not, why not? I mean, I'm sure that you could magically create food to cut. I'm going to say no, because it's more of a pain in the ass for handling.
I'd agree. They don't have a good way to cook it. I mean, how do you steam that big of broccoli? I haven't seen anything yet.
I said only if they were in Undying Vanguard, and they're big and tall, and they're large, and they're large too. So,
or like a giant or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll say no because I thought it was all about the bacon and ham.
There you go. Magically large pigs.
Now, if we could have the big pigs eat the big vegetables, now we could be onto something.
Yeah, now we're getting somewhere. Fan site news, we got a shout out for our episode last week, starting our topic on debuffing. Part 2 will probably be this coming week, next weekend. DDO Players did a weekly podcast about DDO. You can listen to their show, which will have... They just dropped their producer's letter review yesterday. DDO stream shoutouts are Voodoo Spice, DDO PL, and Bard Life. Twitch shoutouts are Karvoski, Olivia Crowley, and Nodens. You can check out all of... Nodens has a message for Colonel Sanders. Interesting. On YouTube, Saba Jade ran in the flesh. Pika Gaming did Reaper 10s, and Yozam does some melee DPS testing. Let's see. Other kind of fun stuff. Let's see. The anniversary event begins next week. They'll have more information about that coming. So that should be with this week's patch. We should get to see that. And final week to run Snow Peaks Festival. So if you want to run the Snow Peaks Festival, this is your last couple days to do that. So it's gonna get it's available through Monday the 21st. So if you're listening to this recorded, it's probably might not have a lot of time. It's probably gonna come out tomorrow evening. But let's see, and then let's see. DDOCast news. We started our Tomb of Annihilation game this last Friday. So that'll be coming out as a video soon. So no one has died yet. Spoilers. But I'm sure people will die in Tomb of Annihilation. Had a lot of fun. They haven't even left town yet. So, but we'll be streaming that on Twitch for DDOCast. And if you want to tune in, you can influence the game and interact with us while we're playing. It'll be a lot of fun. I think that'll take us to Lightning Post. Fuzzy Duck commented about some of the stuff we were talking about on debuffing, saying that the Ranger Speed debuff mentioned was Leg Shot, which is in the Deepwood Sniper tree, as well as Rogue Mechanics tree. I do like things that make things slower. That is one of my favorite things to debuff things with, because I like not getting hit and running away unless I'm actually trying to be engaged. But let's see. It also stacks with Crippling, which also stacks with Tendons and Slice, and all of those effects have no save. So if you're playing a Crossbow Mechanic or Inquisitive, it can be a lot of fun. Let's see, a couple other handy debuffs that weren't mentioned. Fuzzy Duck mentions blindness. Interesting question. Is blindness debuffing or crowd control?
I'd say debuffing.
I think it's more crowd control.
I was thinking crowd control, but it's an interesting question. It is effective, right? So that can be great. Stinking Cloud, I think that one's kind of probably more in the crowd control-y side of things, but sure. Shadow Mantle, we didn't talk about that. That is definitely a debuff. Slow Spell, another interesting another one. I like Grey Wolf. Grey Wolf is saying that these are a debuff because they keep moving and swinging. I'll take that. If something's moving and swinging, it's debuffing and not crowd control. I'll take that. Also, Fuzzy says Time Stop is so good. Definitely one of those things you can build a boss fight tactic around with some coordination, especially if you have a couple people with it, and as an extra bonus, you have that you'll almost certainly have the null magic aura, which is then a great straight up nope to enemy magic. That can be an absolute lifesaver in some areas. Fuzzy has a Renegade Mastermaker Artificer that uses Magus plus Exalted Angel for the healing aura. I think they're going to have to look at throwing some more debuff stuff on him to really lean into the versatile party support role. So, they can still kill you, you're not controlling it. Fair.
Yeah, for debuffs, I'm interested if they'll come with any more weapon options for especially two-handed or two weapon fighters. An offhand weapon, I think there's some room for additional debuffing there.
Sure. Not too many things, I think. You're just really looking for ways to debuff the same things. I'm trying to think if there's anything new that we could really debuff, and I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. So, yeah, debuffing can be fun. I like debuffing. Well, that's going to wrap up the show this week. So, Antha and Propane, thanks, guys, for joining us. Anything you guys want to plug before we head out?
If you're running around Salona, see me up, say hi. Propane Brother Redemption. So we run raids Sunday night. So I'm sure I'll see some folks on sooner or later.
So thanks guys for joining me. Thanks to Arkat and Epic, who had to leave before we finished recording, for joining us as well. And thanks for hanging out with us today, especially those listening to us live. Hey, we'll give a special shout out to Grey Wolf, who's been dominating the chat. Well done. And then thanks to all the folks who contribute to DDOCast, to Standing Stone Games, Wizards of the Coast, and to Cyber for hosting the podcast. If you'd like to support the show, you can visit our website at DDOCast.com, or you can support us on Patreon. If you have a DDO-themed webpage or you Twitch DDO and you'd like to be featured on our website, you can email us at DDOcast@gmail.com. You can also hit us up at DDOcast.com for show notes, MP3s, our calendar, previous shows, and other fun stuff, including various adventures in DDO and D&D Tabletop. Like I said, we got Tomb of Annihilation and Descent into Avernus should be coming back in the near future as well. If you have a comment on this episode, a question you'd like to hear us answer, a topic you'd like to hear us discuss, or you just want to say hi, leave a comment or email us at DDOcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on social media and follow us latest cast updates. At DDOcast on Twitter is the best place to reach me. So may all your attack rolls be crits, all your chests level appropriate, have fun, and don't forget to gather for buffs.